Yeah, Cache gang.
Hey, what you know good? I'm Darius Cache, and this is the Bernard Song Podcast, where pain has a voice and healing finds rhythm. So, on my left, we got Christian Acock, technical producer and moderator of the Bernard Song Podcast. And to my right, we have ToriLive. So today we gon', I'm gonna drop a little, a little nugget. Okay, so, Tori and I have been seeing each other for about a little over 2 months, and she is a person that I'm really looking forward to spending more time with, as God shall see fit. And now I'm gonna let you in, like, you know what I'm saying? Will there be wedding bells? I don't know. You gotta stay tuned for that. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? You like for real. You like stay tuned for that. So recently we've been dealing with a lot of, fallout from the government shutdown. We ain't gonna beat your head off about it because we know you done heard it from multiple sources. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're taking care, and hope you're reaching out to the community because there are places that are providing relief for those who are experiencing food shortage, whether they're SNAP beneficiaries, SNAP recipients who are, about to experience the cutoff, and whether there's workers who are either on furlough or who are still forced to go to work and not receiving a check. Prayers up for you. Yeah. Tori, what's happening? Oh, and I did neglect to mention. So y'all done seen Tori. Y'all gonna see Tori because she is my co-host. So let me go back and reintroduce her. Allow me to introduce co-host of the Bernard Song Podcast, ToriLive.
Hey y'all. So today is pretty exciting for me because Darius is letting me run wild. But the topic of discussion here really is you. We didn't even go over what we're going to talk about. I'm just hitting you with a wild card today, Darius, because I want your most natural reaction. So we got to talking this week, and we were really talking about, like, what Bernard's song actually is. So anyone who has been keeping up with the podcast, watches, has checked us out on our TikTok or whatever. And if you haven't done that, make sure you do that. Subscribe, follow, all the things. You know that Bernard's song isn't just the name of the podcast, but the name of the podcast came from the book itself. So we got into a conversation this week, and we were just like, because I own the book and I'm reading the book. So, like, we got into, like, small conversations about certain things in the book. Now, I'm not going to give nothing away because I want y'all to go and purchase. I want y'all to do that.
So she says she's going to throw some questions at me. Now, I played baseball as a jit, so I can slap a curveball. Okay. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's do it.
So, getting into this. Bernard is your middle name. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give me the history.
I ain't folk. Nah, yeah.
Give me the history, like, on that.
On
your middle name.
My middle name?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Because it's more than just your middle name.
I mean, yeah. I guess it go back to at least what I know. My granddaddy, my daddy, mm-hmm. His middle name was Bernard. Mm-hmm. My daddy, the middle name Bernard, and my daddy decided to name his children with his middle name too. So,
okay.
I mean, if I am mistaken, he got 1, 2, 3 sons, and all of us is named. All of our middle name is Bernard. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, I know the brother on my daddy's side that's right under me. His is it's one more brother, and if I'm not mistaken, I think his middle name is Bernard too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's a lot of history attached to the name. So in song, like, so where did this the title of this book like really come from? Bernard's your middle name, but why Bernard's song? Why not Bernard's story? Because this is pretty much a recount of life events for you. So, what inspired you to name this book Bernard's song?
The first title was Full Circle.
Okay.
Then I did a little research and I see that it's a lot of projects, it's a lot of products, whether they books, things, whatever, that's named Full Circle. And Full Circle happens to be a cliche that people use all the time. And it was very fitting for the book because it was, like a full circle moment.
Right.
But I did want something that was more unique. And so there you have it. So even though it's pretty much about my life, 90%, 95%, only minor details have been changed or omitted, such as people names and whatnot. So even my middle name is the character's name, but however, everybody in the book calls him Nardo.
Okay.
And as far as song goes, it's akin to like a soliloquy, and that's more like one person's story, testament, and we was talking the other day, and then I was like, it kind of, if you ever seen the movie Jason's Lyric, who haven't, so it's sort of like that's what you can relate it to. Now, granted, Lyric was a person, but it was basically that person's song, that person's testimony. So this is Bernard's song as in like an ode or what have you. So there you have it.
Okay. So we're gonna get into it and not get into it because, like I said, we don't want to talk too much because I want the people to go out and purchase this book for themselves.
Yeah, I do too.
Absolutely. All the proceeds for this book actually goes towards your nonprofit, which you've been working so hard on. Noah's Fund. So we just gonna kind of like switch gears real quick. Just talk about that real quick. So Noah's Fund. Tell me about it.
Noah's Fund for Mental Health Research and Education is a nonprofit organization I started on behalf of 16-month-old baby Noah, whose life was tragically cut short due to an undiagnosed or unaddressed mental illness of his caretaker. I'll spare a bit of the details because Noah's mother is still dealing with it, as far as how much she wants to share, and I actually hope, it is my deep prayer that Noah's Fund gives her a space and a platform to talk about it more and more.
Yeah.
Because it's relatable. People go through things like this, unfortunately, and we really just want to protect children.
Wow.
And we're beginning to build a great team, and with all hands on deck, it could be something that's very transcendent in the lives of children and those children caretakers, be it their parents, their foster parents, even teachers who deal with the kids for the great part of the day between those school's hours. Teachers have unfortunately been some of those who have harmed children due to their mental illness. Daycare teachers as well. We want to be proactive. We want to be able to inject ourselves into the situation with prevention.
Right.
And that's by providing resources, and there's a variation of these resources. These the way we'll show up, it won't be one specific way. It's a myriad of issues, and it's a way to address multiple instances of this It's a way to tackle this from a few different angles, whether that's providing equipment, books, whether that's and that may be things that teachers need in the classroom, or whether that's providing these things for parents to overlook and for them to find peace within themselves when possible, providing aid for conflict resolution. So it's a lot of ways to show up in the community with this, and I think that's what I'm most passionate about.
Wow, that is such a big cause. That is such a big thing to get behind. Such a beautiful initiative. Wow. So with Noah's Fund, there is ways to give through purchase of different things like hats. There's hoodies. There's shirts. There's all different things that you can purchase on the website, as well as the Bernard Songbook, which again, all proceeds from this book go towards that great cause with Noah's Fund. So getting back into Bernard's song, now I want to talk to you about your writing style, because when we think, right, when we think of like, okay, the proceeds from this is pretty much getting behind everything that's going on with mental health and things like that. Your writing style in this book, I find it quite interesting. So talk to me. Talk to me a little bit about your style and your the way that you wrote it and why you wrote it that way. Because we know there's some colorful language in this book.
Yeah, I'm one of the many voices of the people, and I say that to mean it's written like we talk.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are things, if you go to crack open that book and you realize there's something that you can't understand, or some pieces that you can't understand, that's because you might not talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's a lot of the dialogue when you have two people talking.
Mm-hmm.
But when the main character is giving a soliloquy, or when as he's narrating, there's a lot of the language that the main character speaks. But then again, he does try to speak to a broader audience,
Mm-hmm.
while not neglecting the people who he's actually appealing to.
Right.
If you from a certain demographic, you might not understand. And I don't mean whether you white, Hispanic, or Asian. I mean just if you don't, because you could be black and not understand what this character is going through. Mm-hmm. So he wants to be, and let me say, I don't even always have to talk about it from third person, because it's my story. In this story, I went through a whole lot to get where I am today, mentally. Now, literally, there are steps that I've taken in my life to where I don't have to go back to those certain routes. And that's because I found profitability that allows me to live my life in a more positive way. I don't have to damage my community so much to get by. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be so underhanded. I don't have to be so malicious in my intentions. I've come to peace with God. Mm-hmm. I've gone through different courses, and I believe my faith coupled with my understanding of society, and as far as what we can do for ourselves, mm-hmm. it has opened me up. And let me say this, man, all thanks be to God, because it is a blessing and a miracle that I was able to experience this, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people, I'm no better than this person or that person. I still sin, but as far as life goes, I did not die in my sin. I was able to realign myself with God and repent and make these honest strides to live a life that glorifies God. And in my daily life, I don't have to tear down my community or my or have my family crying or be away from my son or any of my loved ones because I've made poor choices. Now I can be an asset. I can go and volunteer for certain things. I can stretch. I can have long reach without stretching myself thin, and I can do it in the name of glorifying God. And I love to be able to do that.
I love that, Darius. I love everything that you just said. And that was actually the route that I was hoping that you were gonna go with it, because when you talk about like speaking from the voice of the character, and the character is you, but the character is so many people. Like the character is so many people out here, and I like the fact that people have a voice through you. People are able to have a voice through the arts, you know, through poetry, through music, through all different things. And I think this would really encourage a lot of people to write. You know, I think this is really important in terms of getting our feelings, getting our emotions, getting our experiences out there, and allowing people to feel that like you are not alone in this experience. There is somebody who's gone through this experience, and then there's you today, the refined version of this character, because people can look at this character and see everything that he's gone through and identify with that, but then they can also look at you and then, you know, feel like, well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's something else, there's something more when you get past these places in life. So you're not only the author of this book, but you have a few other books out there. So what really inspired you to get writing in general?
I've been a writer, and all of my writings have not seen the level of appreciation that I would like them to. But it's there's difficulty in creating and marketing. But what I'm most positive about, and what keeps me going, and what keeps me spitting out, you know, my writings at whatever clip, is what can be built around them. So I got into writing. You know, I started out with poetry in the 5th grade. Then once I got to 6th grade, then I started to do little dumb stuff like, that was around the time when Sammy came out, I like the way you look at me. So I thought I hadn't fell in love when I was in 6th grade. So I'd be like, hell, you might call it plagiarism. I might have, you know what I mean? I might have heard those lyrics and sent them to her. I didn't necessarily pass it off as mine, but it was like I really just wanted to convey a feeling that I didn't know how to express. So I had to do it with something that I heard or something that I saw that spoke to how I felt, and maybe I could transfer that to the next person, so or to her, so that she could understand. So my writings, it was like in 7th grade came around, and it's crazy because we talking about middle school. Out of like, you know what I mean. I had a teacher named Mr. Davis, and he wanted us to write a essay or some type of paper on love. And I wrote about being in my mother's womb, you know, and my first experience of love was like when I was born, and then that was where the paper ended. You know, the opening lines of it was, I sit here in this fluid-filled chamber.
Wow.
And granted, that
in 6th grade.
That was 7th grade, but that's really like the only part of it that I can remember of the essay. But I do remember that I got the highest grade in the class for that, and he gave me a 99, and he gave me a 99 because he said nothing is ever perfect. That was his only reason. He didn't say nothing was wrong with what I wrote. He loved it, but he was and that's very humbling. You know what I mean? That's saying a lot. It was a lot in that. He wasn't hating. He was prepping me, and I really appreciate that. So my writings, I spent a lot of time in jail and in prison, and I wrote a lot. I wrote a lot of songs, and I was able to write. And even when I touched down, I wrote and I still write. And now with the Rush of Life, I've taken to using artificial intelligence to help me move my writings along a little faster. Um, so my children's book, uh, um, that was I wrote the story, but then I put it in I put it into to Chat GPT or something, and it helped me to make the story digestible in the amount of pages that's appropriate for a children's book.
Okay.
So that's Veggies with Jam, and it's set to be a series. The first book is The Great Escape, and that talks about conflict resolution because you got these vegetables who are stuck in the refrigerator, but they're trying to get out to the food showcase, but they can't because they are bickering with each other, and one of them feels he's depressed and sad because he feels inadequate. So so it's good for kids, and it was a book that I was able to read at my son's school for career day to the first and the second graders.
That's so dope. So, are you looking to write more children's books?
Yeah, so yeah,
Like outside the series?
Veggies with Jam is the first of a series. So I'm probably won't move on to writing other books before I at least get the second one of that series in, just to make it make sense, because I want to
Sequential order, yeah.
I want to I don't want to stray too far and start working on something else before I really committed to this thing here.
Yeah. I like that because a lot of the things that you speak about, even in Bernard's song, although those are much larger, much more like adult situations, the base and the core of what you talk about here, you talk about a lot of conflict resolution and things of that nature. I like how you were able to break that down and make it bite-sized for children. That's awesome. So, it's quite deep, quite deep. So
You do some writing too now. Don't let her fool you.
Yeah, right.
Don't let her fool you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, really, this ain't about me; it's about you. However, if you have any questions, you can ask them. But yeah, no, like I think this is beautiful, and I want to know, like, does Bernard's song have a part 2 in the works?
There was a Bernard song too, and I put it on the back burner because I want this first one to get the exposure that it needs before I take off and with another series. So it was actually up for pre-order, but I pulled it down because I want to give it its just due.
Okay.
And also, if you go on to my author page, you'll see that there are 6 books. There's actually another book that's not up there, but the reason why it's 6 books is because Bernard's song had a different title that it was published under, and that was I Killed My Brother. And that is the story of Jesse Allen Edson and Darius Bernard Bowdry, which is the plot of the book. And there are times when we wish that we could go back and undo some of the damage that we've done, and you can't make up for everything. So with that said, I think it's only right that in some form, and not even some form, I think I'm mature enough, I'm far enough removed from where I was that I can offer an apology for this man, Jesse Edson, who unfortunately was a victim of acts that I perpetuated. And so I wanted to be very, very candid and very open. I wanted to tell the truth. granted, I did change a few of the events, but I wanted to tell the truth. And I'm mature enough and far enough removed to do that now. As far as I know, as far as I was told, it was a criminal act that I orchestrated that led to his death later on. And in as much, I would like to apologize to his wife if he was married at the time, or his children's mother, and the children who no longer have their father. It's a tough thing to lose a person. And granted, we was thugging, you know. But this is why it's so important to me to address root causes of conflict. That way we can work on conflict resolution before things escalate. We can learn how to deal with each other. We can learn how to love each other. We can learn how to live our lives in a way that is fruitful so that we don't have to hit the next person upside the head for what we feel like we need.
Yeah, that's big. I want to ask you, so what originally led you into, what led your life that way?
A little more clarity led my life.
Okay. All right. So what led you into street life?
See, that's what we were doing. Like, it wasn't Ivy Leaguers is a stretch, and I shouldn't say that because and it's crazy because hell, even right now we at Georgia State. My uncle went to Georgia State. He to be an accountant. He got his master's and his bachelor's. And even when I used to get in trouble in school, he and like get suspended, he would bring me to Georgia State so that I could do my work while he was doing his work. He's the reason that I read one of the first books that is my favorite book, The Contender. And he may be the reason I read that Ben Carson book, Gifted Hands. Like nobody was on the complete straight and narrow, and I ain't throwing nobody on the bus, but people had not thrived in a way that made not thugging appealing. Mm-hmm. Like it was fun. But then everybody who was doing things, the people who, even my uncle, he didn't look like he was having fun doing what he was, you know what I mean, staying on the straight and narrow path that he did. So that's not something that I aspired to. I was a kid. I was a young knucklehead.
So you were impressionable, and based on the surroundings, like you just vibed with it.
You know, people say they're a product of their environment, but I don't want to, lay blame. Because I grew up in Doraville. Doraville wasn't. I didn't live in the projects. There was a time when we was in a 4-bedroom house. It was really a 3-bedroom with a den that we had converted into a bedroom. And my grandma and granddaddy had got it for like they was paying like $500 a month for the rent. So 2-person income, that was very sustainable. And not to mention, it was just about my whole family in that house. There was my aunt and her 2 kids, my cousins, and my mama daughter, me and my mama daughters, my sisters, and there was, of course, my uncle, and there may have been like a couple more people in the house with us. So you looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, about almost 10 people in this house. Mm-hmm. And that's how close families used to be. You don't really see that a whole lot of that these days.
Right.
But it was the usual going on, cookouts, people smoking and drinking, but it was more family oriented. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't necessarily thugging that I was caught up in glorifying, it was things that I used to do to have fun, especially when everybody left. Because pretty much after a while, we lived in that house for about 25 years. But after everybody left, my aunt and her sons moved out, and then my mama, she didn't live with us there the whole time. She left and she left, me and my sisters there. And then when she came back, she got my sisters. So for a while, after everybody left, it was just me and especially after my granddaddy died, it was just me, my grandma, and my uncle. Mm-hmm. And it was lonely. And then when I left, I'd go out and I'd be kicking up dust with my cousins on the east side in Decatur, or either over on the west side with my brothers on my daddy's side, and granted, some of those places was in the trenches. We was in Bankhead Coat, we was out in MLK, like in Verbena Coat. It was some different projects, and that was that just happened to be where I loved to be, because that was where my family was, and that kept me from being alone.
So basically what I'm hearing you say is that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing you say is that there's a strong, like close family dynamic, and then when everybody began to kind of live their life, go their own way, it was like, you said it was fun, right? So you were looking for something that was fun and something that gave you that family, that family feel like y'all were together, y'all were doing this together.
Yeah, and then I got to start smoking weed when I was 12 years old, and once I started to enjoy the taste, I had to buy it on my own, you know what I mean? Or I asked my grandma for some money, and she give me maybe like, she might leave to go to work and she'll leave me like $5 or $10 or whatever. She didn't necessarily know I was gonna buy weed with it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at 15 years old, I had hair on my face, so I was able to buy alcohol from the local corner store too, you know what I mean? So between 12 and 15, I was really tearing my lungs up. Like I would just get my first taste, and that's I don't know how. There's a lot of other kids that go through that. Let me just say that. But it wasn't nobody's fault. It was just natural child curiosity.
Okay. So, all right. Well, what made you pivot though? So now that we've looked at that aspect, what made you begin to turn? Because now you are at the place where you're very community oriented, very much like, look at what you're doing. You're leading Noah's Fun. You're leading this podcast and all of this. So like what, I mean, yes, you went to jail, but like what in your life? Because there's so many people who they live this life and this is just the life. Like that's just it for them. What made you decide to make a change for yourself?
Bro went to jail a whole lot. I went to jail a lot. I'm talking about. It didn't even matter. Like some of my folk who's really in the projects, like who was really just living like slummed out. They still wasn't as bad as me. I was mischievous. There you go. Mm-hmm. I was very, very mischievous. I was always running from the police. I was always, just into something like, and that's really what got me where I am today and doing what I am today, because I don't hesitate. The same way I was quick to hit somebody over the head, or the same way I was quick to do this or do that. That's the type of energy I put in my projects now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's because I realize what's able to be gained as far as the life that I'm able to live if I stick with my passion and if I trust God. Right. At 15 years old, I would have told anybody who was willing to listen that there was no God. And that was just me being immature. And I had been going to church, but there wasn't any, and I don't like to be negative, so I'm not gonna say that there was not. I'm going to say what there was. There was much time and space for me to be mischievous. But after going to jail, you just get tired of it. And then I was getting closer to my breakthrough. If you keep living, you're going to get closer and closer to your breakthrough. I promise you. Yeah. Everybody, anybody, you keep living and you keep being intentional about your growth, being intentional about your success, intentional about your prosperity, you will have your breakthrough. If you listen to people, they will give you the messages through God. Your messages from God will come through people. You can't take everything and do everything what everybody say, but you can analyze it and apply it to your life and your situation. And I feel like I ain't got all the answers. I be wrong a whole lot. But I can honestly live my life in the most positive way and allow people to feed off positive energy, and they might not be able to do what I've done. But they can see with a general scope what's possible, and that it is possible for them. They might just have to tweak this or tweak that. Like, I can't dunk. I'm not a swole athlete. I write songs, but I can't hit certain notes. Like, yeah, I'm an independent artist, but I'm not a rapper making millions of dollars. But on the surface level, from the classes I've taken, from the courses, from me recognizing what's available as far as resource wise for that'll get me out the hamster wheel, you know, and I can lead the rat race. I just want people to see that you can do these things, and you a lot of times it'll take you being uncomfortable for a second. And if you can handle being uncomfortable for a second, then you can get the goodness that's on the other side. I've been living at the Atlanta Recovery Center, but in doing so, I've been able to let my pockets swell. I've been able to I've been able to start being more I've been able to start being more proactive and as it goes to my finances, and it's been able to open doors for me and allow me the comfortability and allow me to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because the way I've come from this place to that place, and I see I'm not where I want to be, but I see the possibilities of what I can be, what I'm able to be, and what I will be with diligence.
And what you've already overcome. Yeah. So your story is continual, never ending. And I'm so glad that you wrote this book and you were able to really speak from your own perspective and from your own heart, because many more people need to see and hear your testimony and realize that it could be theirs too. So we've talked about a lot today. But the last thing that I want to ask you is, so based on all of this, what is the greatest piece of advice that you can give to somebody else who may be living a straight life, maybe selling drugs, maybe on their way to jail? Like, what is the best piece of advice that you can give them to help curve them and bring them into a more positive walk in their life?
Believe in yourself. That's number one, which is actually probably, it can be number two, it can be number one. That's sort of interchangeable, because believing in God, it should lead to a belief in yourself, and that's whether you on the corner selling crack or you selling water. You know, have a plan, have a bigger vision, and tackle it with tenacity. Give yourself the time, with the understanding that if them folks, if you decide to commit a criminal act and them folks go to hide you, and they gonna hide you for about 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years, as opposed to that, give yourself that time. Give yourself that time to grow.
Well, that's beautiful, Darius. I really appreciate you and all the work that you're doing in your community, through your work with this. And I hope that many people, many, many more people are able to hear your voice, hear your story, and realize that they could be a testimony too. So thank you for your time today.
So, we gonna end with that, man. Tori, thank you. Hey, Christian. Christian, my boy. What's up, bro? How you feel?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just a little spaced out a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
That's all right.
It's a
that's
soft,
all right, though.
sultry voice. You know,
End of the week.
I get to talk and, you know, that soft, sultry voice, you know, it's all, yeah.
Hey, man.
But thank you so much for allowing me to, you know, sit and lead the conversation today.
So, I'm Darius Cache,
And I'm ToriLive.
and this is the Bernard Song Podcast, where pain has a voice and healing finds rhythm.
Yeah, Cash Gang.